Good evening. It is Tuesday night, March the 14th, 2023. I am John Schenk, your host of the Deerwood Realty live stream. You found it. I don't know that you were actually missing it, but now you found it. So you're obligated to stay. You're obligated to subscribe, like the video, and also hit the notification bell so that whenever one of my videos comes up, you're going to just go ahead and hit the notification, or you're going to be notified of it, and you're just going to be able to be ready to watch immediately. Forget if you have a job. Look, we all have jobs, right? You should be watching my YouTube video. And so I hope you do that. The live streams, shorts, actually had a decent short today. Just everything. You should come and play here because, you know, what else are you going to do? You're going to watch the Oscars? You're going to watch football? Come on. That's not real estate news and advice. Opinion. That's what you get here at the Deerwood Realty live stream. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Schenk, and I'm the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small residential firm, so small it's just me. And I help buyers buy homes and sellers sell theirs. At night, we do the Deerwood Realty live stream, and that's what you found. Look, the world's a strange place. I mean, you don't have to have me tell you that, but I am befuddled at times as to how strange the world has gotten. I almost don't recognize the world that I live in. And from when I grew up to now, I don't understand. And I think that's by design. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that there are forces that have been working against the United States for decades, and I think they finally gotten to the point where they can be proud of themselves. So we're going to go over some stories tonight that are not political in nature, but fascinating take on the way the world runs. We'll talk about Silicon Valley Bank some more because why not? It seems to do well in search. No, actually, on that topic, I don't really optimize for search. You probably noticed that by the titles. I don't have a lot of time. I mean, although I did have a nice afternoon nap today, I will say that was nice. But anyway, so I just put placeholders like, look, I'm going to be here at 9. You can come visit me, 9 Central. And you know what I've noticed is there's certain words where people are searching, right? Then if I say those words, they'll show up. It'll show up in the search, and that's great. But you know, I've noticed, oddly enough, real estate isn't really like a high search term in Google. I would have thought it was much higher. I was looking the other day, and it was like, oh, nobody's really looking for houses or anything like that on YouTube. And that explains to me a problem that I've been seeing kind of with the space and in real estate. Like, don't get me wrong, there's people that get a lot of views on videos, real estate related, but like in general, like if you could have a search say of, no, I don't know, let's just say Joe Biden, okay? I guarantee you the search terms, like there's just many more people looking at that search term than they are real estate. And I find that fascinating. You know, it's so like real estate is important to my life. Like the economics of it, how it works, the sales and the buying and just how to conduct yourself in the space, the industry. It's a massive part of the economy. And yet we're kind of conditioned to, you know, my mother used this real estate agent, so I'll use this real estate agent. Or you'll get an older couple and they'll be going to the home and their kid will have found a real estate agent that they used for their house, and now they're going to use that same agent. There's no real like searching. And you say, well, that's ridiculous, John. Look at Zillow's built their whole business on real estate agents paying just for the opportunity to get in front of people that may not have agents. And I agree with that. But I'm talking about like the vast majority of clients don't come from your marketing. It comes from, or at least your good clients, it comes from doing a good job. This is my opinion. I didn't mean to go off topic. We're gonna look at some tweets tonight. We're gonna look at some articles. We're gonna talk about title insurance. You'd seen, if you'd watched a couple days back, Fannie Mae has decided that they may not need title insurance on certain transactions. They're testing a pilot program. Title insurance company industry is just livid, and I don't blame them. I understand. They have a position. They have to advocate for it. We're going to talk about Compass, the brokerage. I'm not a member of the Compass brokerage. I'm an independent. I'm fascinated by their growth, how they did it, and how it's different than anything I could pull off myself. But we'll talk about that. I've currently got a Compass agent that's farming in my neighborhood where I live, and it's kind of fascinating to see what they get as agents. Anyway, other than that, we should probably just get to the show. 6 minutes in, we're into the show. Normally we don't get in the show for the first, till 11. I'm just going to bring up some stuff. First thing I want to bring up is, I wanted to do one thing. I always feel rude if I don't do that. If I don't just post a hello. So now everybody's got a hello. Hopefully you feel better. Did I add? Oh, by the way, let me check. I mean, since we're here, I need to check. I'm going to check something on a different screen. Okay, so on my Deerwood Realty page, on Rumble, I've got 16 followers. I need 25 to stream. So if you could just jump over there and do that for me, I'd appreciate it, because I want to stream more places. Now, you can get me in a number of places. Let's talk about that. The stream comes out. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. And it's on the Deerwood Realty and Friends.com podcast page. Those are the places you can find me. I don't know about the interaction. I'm going to go look right now. It's a really bad idea for me to do this while I'm streaming. But why not, right? Why not? Well, now I've learned something screwed up. Oh, I know what it is. Well, you can't get me on the Deerwood Realty live stream on Deerwood Realty podcast, because it's not up. I hit the wrong button. Not cool, dude. Not cool. It's there. Let's see. Okay. Well, fine. Be that way. It'll be there tomorrow. I screwed up. Shame on me. I did a YouTube short today that has managed to do better than any of my YouTube shorts in the past, month. I'm doing shorts individually now. I'm going to try to do a video as well, but I don't know if it's going to work. Okay, good. By the way, when you tell a joke on YouTube and someone doesn't like it, seriously, like a thumbs down for a joke, I mean, we're not allowed to laugh anymore? I don't get it. All right, well, anyway, let's get into the show. First thing I wanted to do, and I always like to start off with this because I think it's Very important to where we're going is the Deerwood Realty page, because at the bottom of the page, right here, is the current interest rates on the 30-year fixed mortgage rates. We're now at 6.75%, an increase of 18 basis points from yesterday. And this matters because we've been told that interest rates should be going down due to the fact that the government cannot continue to keep rates as high as they are and will have to pivot, or else they'll risk blowing up the economy. There were numbers today. The Fed CPI rate came in, or the core inflation rate came in at only 6%, I believe, which was what was forecast, which they say indicates that the economy is starting to lose its steam, and therefore we don't need to raise rates anymore. However, I believe that the Fed meets this week, and it will be interesting to see what the Fed does. Everyone says, all the experts say, the Fed cannot raise rates at this current meeting. I believe that meeting is on Thursday. So I think that we will wait and see. I can tell you what's going on in St. Louis right now. In St. Louis right now, if somebody puts a house on the market and it's priced close to reasonably in this market, which is very, very high, they will get multiple offers. There is such a demand for housing that it's absolutely wild. Yeah. I mean, that's just something that I'm shocked by, but it is actually happening. There had been a pause before January where things had been like you could probably get a deal done, but now it's back to the craziness. Just as an example, I went to a house in Baldwin. We went. You could hardly get an appointment. When we did go, and it was $285 was the asking price. Sold for $305, which is a lot of money for that particular house. It wasn't that great. The yard was an odd shape. It's just what things are selling for is similar to cars. It's just like everything is crazy right now, and it's all due to the easy money policy of the Fed for the last, well, God knows how long. But I've said to people, and I believe this, that we are untethered from reality in all ways, but economics included. At some point in time, there will be a reset of, this dollar is worth this much, and if you do not have that dollar, you cannot buy those things because there will be no credit. But we'll see, right? Things are just different now. That's all I have to say about that. I don't mean that it's a negative thing necessarily. It's just, gosh, things are wild. So let me go to here and see if I can screw up my windows. Go here. Okay, so I wanted to preface tonight. I'm not trying to be deeply political, but I do think that there are topics that we should discuss and just see where you where do you think things are going, and what do you think is right? So one of the things that I think I'm trying to understand is people's identity or their claimed identity, and how that relates to their ascension of the ranks in the United States. So, like Elizabeth Warren, famously an Indian in her resume, turns out not an Indian. There was the woman Rachel Dolezal, who was head of some organization where she was claimed to be African American. If that's the term, that's the one I was taught. If it's not the right one, I apologize. But apparently she wasn't. And it's just fascinating to me why one would claim heritage. Now, I can understand this, okay? I can definitely understand throughout your life you're told things and you just start to believe them. For instance, my mother says that she's done extensive research on our history, and that on my mother's side, they're from Switzerland. Okay, so I just go with that. My other side, They're convinced it's Romania. I feel like I'm over 100 or 200 years removed from any sort of, and I don't even think it's fair for it to be Romanian because I've seen the paperwork and it says he's from Hungary. I mean, it is what it is, I guess. But I'm an American first, and so is everyone else that's born here. Doesn't matter what color your skin is. Doesn't matter anything other than you're an American. Now that's not the world I live in, though. I mean, I understand that's the world that I grew up in, but it's not the world that we live in. We're now so many different things other than American that it's just, I mean, okay, if you think that's a good way to go. But anyway, I wanted to go to this article and I wanted to go through it with you, and you let me know what you think. I'm intrigued. It says university president on paid leave after Indigenous identity claim. I deeply apologize. Now, this is a little bit different than Elizabeth Warren. Let's go through it. It says Memorial University president Vianne Timmons decided to go on voluntary paid leave after she became engulfed in a scandal surrounding her claimed Indigenous heritage. Now, so there's a difference between ancestry and identity. Okay, and the claim would be that she has gotten to her position because she has claimed a heritage, but not an identity. And the reason why I don't want you to think that I'm not trying to like poke at the bear here. I've never seen this particular problem where your heritage is different than your identity. And I think it's smug to be able to voluntarily go on paid leave. Because it's not the world I live in. I'm a real estate agent. If I decide not to do work, if I decide not to have clients, if clients decide they don't want to use me, I get a voluntary paid leave. No. I get nothing. I get absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. There's no health insurance. There's nothing. I literally don't get paid. And so for these people, and you say, well, John, they deserve that. These people deserve the ability to take paid leave because they are the most educated amongst us. They are the smartest amongst us, and they have earned the right to have paid leave voluntarily when they make a mistake. You, John, you don't have the education. I do have 2 master's degrees, but I guess I don't. You're right. I'm just saying, if we're going to play that game, you can say, you can say all these things, but at the end of the day, this is a type of privilege that would not be acknowledged by those who use it. They'd find everything else wrong with it. So anyway, it says, in a statement released Monday, Timmons apologized for any pain her disputed claims to Indigenous ancestry have caused. Memorial University is an academic institution located in Newfoundland and Labrador, a Canadian province. The controversy stems from Timmons claiming she has never benefited from her Indigenous ancestry, which she maintains is different from her Indigenous identity. While I have shared that I am not an Indian tribe, and I do not claim an Indigenous identity, questions about my intentions in identifying my Indigenous ancestry and whether I have benefited from sharing my understanding of my family's history have sparked important conversations on and beyond our campus. Okay, so like she's making the claim that I have, that my mother says I'm Swiss on her side. My father's relative came from Hungary. We saw the paperwork. And so when you ask me who I am, well, I'm an American. I don't identify as Swiss or Hungarian. She claims she joined the Bras d'Or Mikwok First Nation tribe, a tribe which is not recognized by Native Americans or Canada's federal government, for a brief time around 2009 when her brother submitted their genealogy. So, and now, look, I'm not, again, who is it for Native Americans? Well, I would think, or Canada, to say a tribe didn't exist. Now, you say, John, you're ignorant about this topic. I am. But then I looked into it on my own, and I didn't feel comfortable identifying as a member of a band that wasn't official or as a member of a band anyway, because I was not raised that way. And so I removed it and never referred to it again, she says. So she says in 2009. Okay. All right. Well, she doesn't feel that way, so she isn't. That's what she says. And then, however, it says public documents, including a CV as recently as 2016, show she claimed membership in the tribe over a longer period of time, and CBC News has found references as late as 2018. So that would seem to be at odds with her claim that she was done around 2009. I have been reflecting on this feedback from the Indigenous community, and I sincerely regret any hurt or confusion sharing my story may have caused. That was never my intention, as I deeply apologize to those I've impacted. So I don't know the story that she has shared. Is it a story similar to mine where it's like we're just, we're not paying too much attention? The Embattled University president said she welcomed Memorial University's Board of Regents' decision to host an Indigenous-led roundtable discussion about the manor. Well, what is she going to say? She's backed into a corner. She's going to lose her job or not, depending on how she plays this. And what was she going to say? No, I reject the ability for an Indigenous-led roundtable discussion. She's on paid leave. She can't even do anything anyway. I am wholeheartedly supportive of this process to seek Indigenous guidance and knowledge. Indigenous peoples must lead this conversation, and we all have a role to play in listening and ensuring their voices are elevated in the weeks to come. That's what she wrote. And by the way, and this is me. You have to be a pretty you have to have cojones to pull what she pulled and then bless a roundtable discussion about it, making it look like you're fostering a conversation that needs to be had. That takes some chutzpah. It says there's been several high-profile cases of individuals claiming Native American ancestry for their own professional advancement in recent years. During 2020 campaign, President Donald Trump blasted Senator Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas after it was reported that she claimed Native American heritage at various points throughout her life. She later admitted she was wrong to do so. More recently, Dylan White Duck, chief of Kitigan Zibi Arshenabag, accused a purported Native American social justice organization of not actually being run by Native Americans and distributing fake ID cards to people who are not Native American. Well, that seems to be problematic. I mean, what are we to make of this? What are we to make of this? Did she feel that by using Native American heritage, it would get her one step forward in life? that would seem to indicate that it would be well, it's a terrible thing to do, right? It's a terrible thing to do. And I don't want to do a what about, or a relevance argument, but there's different levels of terrible. The president of Silicon Valley Bank, the day before the place ate it, was like, "Stay calm, everything's good, don't need to panic." Next day, the bank's underwater. He's got $10 million to sleep on, so he'll be okay. I don't know. Part of me says there's a game being played, and you just have to know what the rules are. And this woman has found some rules in the game that she could use to her advantage. The game of life. You can be a winner at the game of life. And she it's a weird deal. It's a strange situation. I've never used any sort of padding of my resume because I never really wanted to talk about myself or my accomplishments. I didn't think that was relevant. I'm just not that person. I'm not boastful. I'm quite positive that many people do. And it just kind of goes to who you are. I don't feel like any of this is on the up and up. I mean, that's just me. So, having a roundtable discussion does not fix what you did. Apologizing deeply for it does not fix what you did. There's not really a fix for that. Now, I mean, there's worse people in the world. Let's be honest. Is that the best argument that I have for this woman? The best pro argument? Yes. Yes, there are worse people in the world. There. I mean, if you were friends with this woman, should you stop being her friend? Like, if you're going to go have lunch every once in a while, and nah, probably not. I mean, she may ask you to foot the bill because she's probably going to be out of a job, but she might get out of it because hosting the roundtable discussion. I mean, that's a good one. That's a good one. Elizabeth Warren did not host a roundtable discussion. Anyway. I mean, there's all kinds of that. Is it Senator Blumenthal? The guy, I think he's from Connecticut. He said he was in Vietnam, and he's nowhere near Vietnam. And he's one of those people that'll say, how dare you do this or that? I mean, it takes real psychopath tendencies to be able to get away with that, and he does. So, I don't know. I just wanted to bring it to your attention in the sense that I don't know that this should be investigated, but if you say you're part of a tribe or you're part of a group, what would be interesting is if you really what happens when? What happens if you say you're part of a group and then the group says we don't want you? Can that happen? I guess. I don't know. It's very odd. We've gone down a road here that's doesn't seem very healthy for anyone. But anyway, moving on. This is another, thought-provoking tonight, right? I mean, what is it, Tuesday night? I had a nap. I see these things. Like my show, this show is one man who is just going about his life, okay? And who's being bombarded with all this information, right? And it's like, what do you do with it? Like that last article, okay? How does that help me sell houses? It doesn't. How does that help me live a better life? Well, I've never claimed faked heritage. That's never been like for an advancement. There are some jokes that go around my family about my heritage, and I've gotten to the point where I don't even pay attention. I don't even know. It's not, to me, I'm okay with being like an American. That's it. Some people, it's not okay. Whatever. Is it fair to lump this woman into the Elizabeth Warren, other people claiming fake? Yes. Like, but I'm probably never going to see this lady. We're probably not doing lunch. She's probably not going to buy a house from me. But yet now I know about this. Now we're going to move on. This is another fascinating. It's just fascinating. Okay. Let me see here. Bam. Oh, I don't like this one. Dove soap brand. Now, this is a soap company, right? They make soap. Slams Oscar-winning film The Whale for using a fat suit. We want better representation. Stop giving fat suits, the company demanded. I believe Dove is a division of Unilever. I believe this. Let me look it up because I don't want to. And by the way, we'll talk about that in a minute. Remind me to do Mike Joy in a minute. Talk about that. Dove soap is a Unilever brand, which is a global brand of products. Multinational. The products are sold in more than 150 countries. So here we go. Soap and hygiene company Dove, a division of Unilever, took a moral stand on Monday against Academy Award-winning film The Whale, slamming it for an actor in a fat suit rather than featuring an obese actor. Now, look, I've not seen a movie. One says Oscar and one says Academy Award-winning, so I don't know. So I don't know anything about this. This Brendan Fraser is Encino Man to me, and he will never not be that. Okay? That's when I was born. Sorry. The toiletry company blasted the film in response to a tweet from an obese Twitter user who called out the Whale's hair and makeup team after it took home the Oscar for their work in the movie. The disgruntled tweeter claimed identity is not your costume, a declaration Dove endorsed. In its own tweet, the soap brand mentioned the desire to see better representation in Hollywood. And so this goes back to, if you're going to play an actor, no, if you're going to talk about a story about something or someone, the actor has to represent that group, which shatters the illusion of Hollywood dramatically. Like, here's why. Tom Cruise. You put Tom Cruise in a movie and people will come to see it. Doesn't matter what Tom Cruise does in the movie, people will come to see it. Okay? I'm not sure about George Clooney anymore, but there was a time when if you put him in a movie, you would get people to show up. Now, look, here's the problem. Someone who has an identity of being fat, I'm just saying here, I'm not trying to pick on the person, just based on this, that you've never heard of, isn't going to put butts in the seats. It's the same problem I have with my show right now. Let me try and explain this. No one is searching for John Schenk of Deerwood Realty in Google. Okay? No one. No offense. But I mean, that's just the way it is. Okay? However, if I were Mr. Beast, people would literally search for me as Mr. Beast Okay, because they're interested in what the guy does. It's a question of branding and putting random people that fit representative groups isn't going to move the needle as far as paying for this movie. And you say, well, so everybody has a voice, everybody's important, but that's not real life. That's not real life. The Whale prompted the response for starring Hollywood actor Brendan Fraser as the titular character, an extremely obese man whose addiction to eating has strained his relationships with his loved ones and made normal life for him functionally impossible. For Fraser to play the obese character, he had to wear extensive prosthetic makeup, as he described it to UK talk show host Graham Norton. During their interview, Fraser talked about the suit, saying it was designed with the rules that would obey gravity and physics. It was appropriately heavy, and that really made the experience of playing the part, I think, a lot closer to what it would be like to live in a body of a man that size for me personally. It says Fraser would go on to win the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in the film, while the fame's makeup and costume crew received the Oscar for Best Makeup and Hairstyling for their work getting Fraser to look like the morbidly obese character. Now, what's interesting here is now they've explained the Academy Award and the Oscar situation. And there was a time. Look, I'm trying to put it all together. I grew up at a certain point in time. Things may have changed. I don't know. But like, if you were in a zombie movie and you were all make-upped as a zombie, that would be good. Because you're not going to find representatives for zombies. Same way with like Star Wars, right? You're not going to find like, what is it, Chewbacca? You're not going to find a Chewbacca, like as far as we know. R2-D2, same thing, same problem. I mean, there's Sophia the robot, but I don't think she's like, and there's those little Boston Dynamics dogs. It just doesn't, like, I'm not trying to, I just don't understand. So anyway, the one Twitter account accused the film of appropriating obese people's identities with the fat suit. User KB Helen wrote on Sunday, so disappointing that The Whale won the Oscar for Best Hair and Makeup. Fat suits are harmful. They're not your opportunity to win awards. Our identity is not your costume. Cast fat actors to play fat characters. Now look, is this user real? And is this user representative of the larger populace? I mean, because I hate to say this, people have said negative things about my show. It's happened. The complaint resonated with the billion dollar soap brand. Commenting on Hyland's tweet the next day, Dove's account demanded, "Stop giving fat suits awards. We want better representation in Hollywood. Let's change beauty." And it says, obviously. I never want to say obviously because I don't know people's motivations. Obviously, it says. Dove was calling for overweight people to play overweight characters in Hollywood movies, suggesting that using thinner A-list movie stars in costume to play obese characters is not proper representation for the obese community. Now, look, I don't even accept this idea of representative for Hollywood because I don't believe that Hollywood is fantasy. Hollywood is not real. Anything that goes on in Hollywood is its own thing. The whole joy of Hollywood is escapism. I don't want to be thinking about stupid things like this during a movie. I want to be relieved of all these issues that everyone has with everything. Though several prominent Twitter users found Dove's complaint ridiculous. Popular YouTube film critic, The Critical Drinker, Ripped Dove, I've seen him before, maybe because being 600 pounds is massively dangerous. In film studios, I got a bug, I'm sorry, would rather use prosthetics and makeup than an actor who might not even survive the film. Popular YouTuber That Star Wars Girl added, "You're not for changing beauty, you're for selling more soap." And that's exactly it. How do you sell more soap? You take opportunities like this to insert yourself into the narrative. And then people, when they go to the store, subconsciously say, "Oh, Dove, I've heard of that brand recently." You notice they're not talking about the fact it's Unilever, a worldwide corporation. No, they're branding it as Dove. And then Dove, their Twitter person, is like, this is an opportunity for us to get our names out there and do it in such a way where we look good. Daily Wire's Jerry Boring took the opportunity to advertise his soap products. Jeremy's Razor's body soap, Boring's product, has been billed as a hygiene alternative that refuses to embrace woke marketing schemes. He tweeted, "Many people are unaware of our expanding product line at Jeremy's Razors. Our soap is exceptional. Our shampoo and conditioner are sublime. Body wash, moisture cleanser, beard oil, we're building alternatives." Fox News Digital reached out to Dove for comment on their tweet, though the company has yet to respond. Well, why would they respond? When you have other people talking about you, you don't need to. That was wrong there. I don't have that set up right here. I should probably fix these things before I get started. But let me ask you, you put it in the chat, you put it in the comments. It's not a question of Dove being right or wrong. It's a question of, was this necessary? Are there obese people throughout the United States and greater, well, obviously not the world, because Dove is kind of focused their marketing here. Are people emboldened to, who are we empowering here? Like, what are we doing? Like, how are we doing this? Here's where I am. Dove is a soap company. They sell soap. And they need to sell a lot of soap because they have to pay executives ridiculous amounts of money to justify, selling soap. Any way they can sell soap is the best for them. They think this is, let's not forget how Gillette sold razors when they made every man a wife beater, a girlfriend beater, an abuser, and thought that was going to be a good plan. So these companies are totally clueless. Like, they don't probably even, the person who tweets about Dove soap probably doesn't even use Dove soap. That's from the representative of Dove. So I don't know what to make of it. I do find this fun. You understand we can make a story now about anything. All we need is one person. Like let's just say, let's use Elon Musk. And I'm not sure what his latest Twitter count is, but I'll look it up real quick here. Please hold. Social Blade says he has, I can't even understand the number. Let's look here. It says he has 131 million on Social Blade. It says he has 120 million on some other site. And then it says he has 131 million again somewhere else. Like, I could go to Twitter, but I don't want to. I'm on Twitter already. So anyway, like, all you need to do a story on Elon Musk is you say some members of some community were unhappy with Elon Musk's tweet. And then, so that's the headline. And then you write what happened. So some members of some community or some user of Twitter, even you don't have to have a member of a community, a user on Twitter was uncomfortable with a meme that Elon Musk put out yesterday. The meme was about X, and the person responded with the following tweet. Okay. And then this tweet has caused a reaction amongst the other Twitter users, with many coming to the defense of Elon Musk. Here's an example of 4 of those. While it is yet to be determined whether or not this violated any sort of tweeting rules, it's important to note that Elon Musk is a owner of Twitter and that he has made X amount of dollars in the past 30 years. I just did an article. It isn't hard. It's gross how easy it is to write articles. Now, let me see if we're doing this. Okay. So now I'm going to do something in the back end. Let me just make sure it's still in the back end here. Okay, let me check. Got to check one thing. Oh, I don't know who that is. Okay. Okay, now look. I do not particularly like to curse. I don't like to write curse words. I'm sorry. One will slip out from time to time. I'm no angel, but I'm not that person. You may think that, but I'm not. So I'm going to present to you a tweet from someone I follow on Twitter that makes me laugh. And I will not read it. I will put it up for you to read. And then we will discuss afterwards. Okay? That's how we're going to get around this. Okay. So that being said, here we go. This is from the Zodiac. And I'll just give you a moment. And I would just direct you to this. This is a comment based on this. And then he writes after that, this. Okay. And I'm 100% in agreement with this. I'm 100% in agreement with this. I really cannot tell you how much it disgusts me when people put happy faces on bad information. It's just disgusting. Okay. Moving on. Kara Mason moved. Now she's with Compass Philadelphia. We're going to talk about Compass later, I think. It says sales to list price ratio has dropped significantly in Philadelphia over the last 6 months, though it's worth noting that we're still in the high 90s. Sellers have been coming down to earth, but what buyers are still saying lower. I'm interested in seeing what happens this spring. Now, look, if I were to show you a chart, sale price to list price in St. Louis, Missouri, you'd have quite a different chart. As I told you, 285 asking price, 305 sales price. Now, understand that's not on every house, okay? I do want to double check something. Oh, I hate that. I'm so sorry. Here. I do not like that one. I like this one. I don't know. Do I like that one more? Do you really need to see all of me like this? It would be really good for the YouTube shorts. I don't know. Let's put it there. No, that's no good. I like this. I'm sorry. Always have. My thing is this. Did I not like this? Shame on me. She refuses to follow me, by the way. It makes me sad. If you're in St. Louis You got a nice house, good chance of it going over ask right this moment. I don't even need a chart to tell me this. I know it. I go out there every weekend and I get just blown away. Okay. Moving on. Daniel Harold. This is a story that I wanted to this was good. This was healthy. I'm sorry, I'm checking a bunch of stuff tonight. I guess I'm going to run late. I didn't plan on it. My poor nephew threw in the towel in commercial real estate. He found a commercial real estate job when he graduated from college at a brokerage shop in Dallas. No draw, no guidance, no training, just cold calling to find leads. Oh, and $150 per month desk fee, in addition to his licensure fees. But let's just break this down. So no draw. Do you know what that means? You know what a draw is? It's quite evil. A draw is something that a real estate agency, a broker, you're 100% commission, but they'll give you a draw. Okay. They'll say like, okay, we're going to give you, $5,000 in the bank right now. And then on your first deal, we'll take the $5,000 back. Sometimes it's with interest, sometimes with not, but you draw against future commissions. The issue is you don't always get future commissions to draw from. There's none there. So you end up paying the brokerage when you leave. No guidance, no training, just cold calling to find leads. So no guidance. One of the biggest jokes in real estate is the training policies for most large brokerages. If you use their training programs and policies, you would end up being broke. But anyway, so this is the story of 95% of people in real estate, both on the commercial side and on the residential side. To the brokerage fee that ran this shop, shame on you. You're setting people up only to fail and not experience the absolute joy of being in this industry. I don't find it to be enjoyable always. One, and then somebody else wrote, as a CCIM, they're rather well trained. One CRE job out of college and throwing in the towel. Timing may not be right, but what about resilience, persistence, tenacity, etc.? It says, I'm not in his headspace, but if you're not giving any guidance at all and you're 23, 24, it would be incredibly difficult to navigate commercial real estate in any market. I don't know if there's any more replies. I support 100%. Need guidance, mentor, coach, somebody to high five when you get your first deal done. If I hire a junior, I expect to bring them in on my deal. Sounds like he needs another shop where he can cut his teeth on. Rock stars will be made in 2023. I agree. I'm trying to guide him. If he really wants it, he will get himself back in the ring. It's weird that you've got an uncle that's good at commercial real estate or believes he's good at commercial real estate, and yet you didn't try to. It's got a Team Harold. Like, you didn't even sign up for that. What's going on here? John Wake on Twitter. I think I figured out one of the extraordinary ways Silicon Valley Bank is being bailed out. Say SVB buys a mortgage-backed security for $1 and it pays Y% interest for the life of the mortgage-backed security. If rates rise, the value of the mortgage-backed security would fall to, in effect, increase the rate. What the Fed says it will do with Silicon Valley Bank is if they paid $1 for MBS that is now only worth I'm going to guess 80 cents, but maybe 8 cents, because the interest rate increased, the Fed will loan SVP $1 anyway against the MBS. The collateral is only worth 0.8, but the Fed will loan the bank $1. If your house value fell from $500,000 to $400,000 since the Fed started raising rates, it would be like the Fed loaning you $500,000 and only keeping the $400,000 house as collateral. Somebody wrote, and the SVP shareholders and bondholders lost 100%. Home equity does not equal banking or checking accounts. I don't think that was his point. I don't think that was John Wake's point. John Wake's point was, it seems as though you're being loaned You're getting money that's on collateral that's not as much as the loan. It's not a 1-to-1. This is my take. I don't know. This is Nick Gurley. I'm going with Nick Gurley. I don't know if that's his name, but anyway, it could be. I don't know if it's pronounced right. It says for those expecting a Fed pivot, don't count on it. Now look, that is counter to the narrative that we are seeing in the marketplace. Okay, that's just counter to the. It says still historically, inflation is 6%, well above the unemployment rate of 3.6%. Still, by the way, unemployment at 3.6% is ridiculous. That's considered full employment. Full employment is not 100% or not 0%. Okay. Unemployment, 0%. Full employment is like between 4 and 6% in a good economy. Still historically unprecedented situation that suggests financial conditions are loose. Fed's dual mandate says they need to keep hiking. I don't remember their mandate. I'm sorry. Here, let me look it up. I have Google. The Fed's dual mandate, maximum employment and price stability. Maximum employment, which they've got that one figured out, and price stability. Okay. Let's continue. The only other time in recent U.S. history where inflation was above unemployment was in the 1970s. Not great comparable for today. Fed was forced to keep hiking rates throughout the decade, obviously shredding the stock market. Or absolutely, I'm sorry, not obviously. But there was a Fed pivot in the 1970s that's worth noting. It started in 1974 when they cut the Fed funds rate from 13 to 5%. However, the Fed only did that after the unemployment rate line started to spike. Eventually, unemployment hit 9%. The unemployment rate today is still a near record low 3.6%. There are over 10 million job openings, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Even though we all know what's coming, I don't know what's coming. Based on this, the Fed is boxed into keeping rates high due to this seemingly strong job market. I have to imagine Jerome Powell is hoping for some weak jobs reports in the future months because it would make, and I think then, it's a long tweet, it would make it easier to pivot. But now everyone else is saying they're pivoting now. Like the pivot has started. Everyone that I'm paying attention to. There may be others. But due to how lags work in the economy, we're probably not going to see the unemployment rate spike until the summer or fall, which is not something one should look forward to. Something similar happened in 2008. The unemployment rate stayed very low for a while. It was still near cyclical lows at 5% in April 2008, 1 month after the Bear Stearns collapse. Then it exploded over the next year. A lot of people look back in 2008, or a lot of people back in 2008 thought Bear Stearns was just a blip. The CEO of Lehman Brothers said in March 2008 that their liquidity position was strong and that the Fed bailout solved everything. Sound familiar to what's being said by bank execs in 2023. I wouldn't be surprised if the Fed in 2023 starts spitting similar narratives. We saved the day. The bank liquidity we provided will stem future bank runs. Confidence is restored, giving the Fed runway to keep hiking rates, contracting money supply. CME FedWatch tool currently shows 80% odds of a 25 basis points rate hike next week and a 20% odds of staying pat. It sounds about right to me, barring other big events occurring between now and then. That's just not what I'm seeing. Things to remember from this tweet thread: inflation is greater than unemployment rate, or inflation that is greater than the unemployment rate creates a big issue for Fed pressure to keep hiking. The only time in recent history the Fed cuts rates in such a scenario was the 70s, but unemployment was already increasing substantially when they did. More things to remember: because economic data operates on a lag, we likely won't see unemployment increase meaningfully until summer of 2023. In the meantime, people will convince themselves that the crisis has been averted. The Fed will probably keep hiking rates until something breaks in the labor market. Then unemployment rate goes above inflation. That's when the Fed's dual mandate tells them to cut rates. To be clear, anything can happen. This is me speculating data based on data and history. Let's say it happens on March 22nd. I misspoke then. I thought Thursday, the Fed meeting, or they were having the meeting. I guess we're not going to have it till the 22nd. I apologize. And then somebody writes, almost a guarantee at this point of a pivot, they will almost certainly raise a quarter of a point less to be done with it. I don't like the word pivot just based on this conversation. Like, I'm tired of it. Moving on. This is from Alf. Alf got in trouble for stealing a chart from Zero Hedge the other day, which is fine. I try not to steal things. I don't know. The Fed can only truly pivot from an inflation fight when systematically important and destabilizing credit events unfold. And sorry to break it to you, but there's nothing to be excited about in that case. So he's saying also that the Fed can't pivot right now because it really wasn't a systematically important and destabilizing credit event. The failure of a bank, the 13th largest bank or 16th largest bank in the United States, isn't a destabilizing credit event. Okay. Here we go. This is a good tweet by Amy Nixon. She used to go by Texas Runner DFW, but she's doing it by Amy Nixon. Now it says, another 6-handle CPI, another day you wake up and ask yourself how anyone is affording all this. I ask that all the time. How in the world are people affording new cars at $80,000? How is that possible? An excerpt from the Wall Street Journal article in my next tweet says everything you need to know about what has happened in recent years and foreshadows what will happen next. It says Danielle Smith and her family thought they had finally escaped the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle they'd fallen into. They saved money during the pandemic while they were stuck at home. They used stimulus check to chip away at $20,000 in credit card debt and enjoyed a reprieve from monthly payments on their $160,000 in student loans. Lately, they've been hit with one unexpected expense after another, from an out-of-pocket MRI to a broken water heater. They also took trips with their 4 children that they had put off because of COVID, including to Walt Disney World, local museums, and the zoo. By 2022, their credit card debt had doubled to nearly $40,000. Danielle isn't unique. This is how millions of millennial families live and spend, with massive debt. COVID stimulus offered a brief reprieve. It's over. They're done taking expensive vacations. If they haven't bought a home yet, it's not happening soon. I'm personally not going on a spring break vacation with my family because I do not feel comfortable taking a spring break at a time when it looks like I need to be making money just to continue operations. I will take flack for this, but as a mom of young kids, I can understand why parents can't afford it, i.e. need to put on credit card, go to Disney. Your kids age out of the wonder of it, and the window of opportunity is gone. I can empathize with that thought process. That's exactly right. What your kids want to do when they're 10 is a hell of a lot different than what they want to do when they're 20. I mean, the time goes by so fast. Darth Powell, just a reminder, your house that was worth $462,000, 107.54 at 2.7% rates is worth $280,898.82 at 7% rates. Kara Mason writes, unfortunately, this isn't how it works. And he writes, of course it does. And he gives you an example. And then somebody else wrote, no, you're wrong. Yeah, 100% not how it works. If it did, prices would reflect your analysis today. And he says, come on now, you know it takes a long time for people to understand reality in housing. You still don't get how it works. People don't buy and sell residential real estate based on this kind of financial analysis. Your point is well taken. But when people buy a house, they're making a personal decision first, investment decision second. They always buy based on their ability to service debt. They have to be able to service the debt to buy, and rising interest rates make it harder to service that debt on the same house. But in many cases, they aren't picking the same house. On the flip side, no one is selling their 3% mortgage house. No, of course they will. I am of the opinion that Darth Powell is right. House prices have to get to some sort of level of normal. I just think they're out of balance right now. The real problem is like inflation and how inflation, I don't know how to explain it. Like if something goes from $1,000 to $1,100, okay, inflation could have been the reason for it, not that the good was more expensive. It could be that the value of the money that was used to purchase it was less. It's a very sneaky thing. Anyway, I want to see something real quick. I was worried. I get comments on videos and stuff like that, and sometimes they'll be from like 6 months ago, and like I don't even know. Like I don't even remember. I don't remember yesterday. I have the memory of a goldfish, for the most part, and so I don't like negative comments. Some people say like you're bald and you got a big nose, and it's like I do. Okay, I mean, thank you for pointing that out. It's kind of hurtful, but I'm not. It's not a criticism. It's just mean spirited. So I don't know. So I saw a comment that I had on one of my videos, and I was worried, but I checked it and it wasn't bad. So I'm glad. Now that I do that, people are going to write more negative comments to hurt my feelings. But whatever. I got to check one thing here. Okay. We're going to keep going. We're to the articles and commentary portion of our stream tonight. Just so you know, I have not done well with the time change. I'm mostly like I was telling you about my afternoon nap. It was nice, except for I woke up like 4 times choking. I have like allergies, and it's just like, ugh. At night, I had a nightmare last night that was just a disaster. So I'm not sleeping well. And I mean, I don't need like professional help or anything. I would just like to be able to relax and sleep. And, it's just not happening right now. So that's why I can just go on for, it's 10 o'clock here in St. Louis and I'm wide awake. All right, let's get to the first article, shall we? It says an expert gives you clarity in today's marketing or in today's housing market. And I think this is true. Let me go through the article and then we'll talk about it. It says the housing market has been going through shifts lately. That's why it's so important to work with an industry professional who can be your guide throughout the process. I believe that's true. A real estate expert uses their knowledge of what's really happening with home prices, housing supply, expert projections, and more to give you the best advice. Someone who can provide clarity like this is critical right now, says Jay Thompson, a real estate industry consultant, who explains the housing market headlines are everywhere. Many are quite sensational, ending with exclamation points or predicting impending doom for the industry. Clickbait, the sensationalizing. I can't do it. I can't say the word. Of headlines and content. Sensationalism, but it's the other word. Sensationalizing of headlines and content has been an issue since the dawn of the internet, and housing news is not immune to it. Unfortunately, when information in the media isn't clear, it can generate a lot of fear and uncertainty in the market. As Jason Luris, co-founder and chief data officer at Parcel, says, in the absence of trustworthy, up-to-date information, real estate decisions are increasingly being driven by fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Well, that shouldn't be that way. You should just call me. Like if you're in St. Louis right now and you're like, I don't know what to do, well, just call me. I had a lady call me at the beginning of the year. She said, you know what? I think I want to sell my house. I said, well, why? She says, well, I think it's going to cost me a lot of money to make the repairs that I need to make. And I said, well, do you know what you can buy for the money that you would, sell your house? She said, no. I said, well, I'll send you over some listings. The listings were like, she was probably going to be able to sell for like $140. And she was, I mean, the things that she would buy that would be just the same as her house right now were in the twos. I said, that doesn't make any sense. Fix the stuff you want and keep on down the road. She said, okay, I'll do that. But it doesn't have to be that way. Buying a house is a big decision, and it should be one you feel confident making. You can lean on an expert to help you separate fact from fiction and get the answers you need. The right agent can help you understand what's happening at the national and local levels, and they can debunk headlines using data you can trust. Experts have in-depth knowledge of the industry and can provide context, so you know how current trends compare to the normal ebbs and flows in the industry, historical data, and more. I think that's true. I think that if you find the right agent, if you find the wrong agent, like in my example, that lady finds the wrong agent, they're like, well, let's sell your house tomorrow. And they're not even thinking about they're not thinking about anything other than that commission. Then to make sure you have the full picture, an agent can tell you if your local area is following the national trend. We are not in St. Louis following the national trend. Or if they're seeing something different in your market. Together, you can use all that information to make the best possible decision. After all, making a move is potentially life-threatening, or not life-changing milestone. It should be something you feel ready for and excited about, and that's where a trusted expert comes in. Yes, I believe that's true. Most people that sell their homes are done. It says for the bottom line, it says for expert advice and latest housing market insights, reach out to a real estate professional today. What's wrong with that? I think nothing's wrong with that. I agree 100%. Like I said, if you're in St. Louis right now, okay, and you call me and you say, John, I saw your live stream, or you worked with my friend so and so. I'm thinking about selling my house, and then I said, well, let's talk about it, because every situation is different. Like if someone says, John, I cannot even make the payments on my house. I don't know what to do. I'd say, well, we need to do two things. One, we need to sell your house quickly. And two, we need to find you a place where you can live, where you're not missing payments, because that's not good. Now, it's going to be tricky, but let's figure this out. I think too many people, I'll put this down here. I think too many people make the decision first and then deal with the consequences after. Do you see how I did that? Sorry. So let's explain this, what I mean. Someone may gather information from the internet. Okay, say somebody's looking to sell their house. So they're looking on the internet and they're seeing all this stuff about the housing market collapsing. Okay. Then they call me with the intent of selling their home. So I'm already one step past where I need to be. I need to be at the stage where they're like, John, I'm considering selling my home, but I haven't made any decisions yet, and I really don't know what to make of any of this data. See, one is I have an open mind. The second one is I have a goal, and you are to help me with that goal, and that is to sell my house. And I think with that explanation, you can see how you could have issues, right? You could see how that would cause issues for an agent, because all of a sudden you're calling me to sell a house. That's totally different than you'd like my opinion on what the market's doing and how you can best navigate it. Just a thought. Next article. Now, we talked about Fannie and Freddie with a pilot program, or the FHA with a pilot program. I don't remember who it was, but they had a pilot program that said, oh my gosh, that's not good. Pilot program that said, hey, we don't need title insurance. We could use an attorney, like letter of fact or something, and we'd be totally good with that. Title insurance companies throughout the United States just besides themselves with that idea. But let's talk about what title insurance is, because I think it's important. It says, when buying a home, you might wonder what title insurance is and how it works. As with any insurance, it protects against loss, and this insurance relates to issues with the title of the home you're buying. We'll examine what you need to know about title insurance when you're buying a home. It says, what is title insurance? Title insurance protects home buyers and mortgage lenders should there be a problem with the title that causes a financial loss. There's two types of insurance policies for the title. One is lender's title insurance, which protects the lender through the buyer paying for it, which is always one of those things. I also don't agree. I have a mortgage friend that says that this is totally normal, and I think it's totally wrong. If I pay for an appraiser, okay, then it's my appraiser. It's not the lender's appraiser. She thinks the opposite. She thinks that somehow that person's working for the bank and not for you. And I've always found that to be a conflict of interest, but we just don't agree. So we move on. Owner's title insurance offers protection for the buyer. It's an optional expense a buyer can pay as part for their closing costs. Most of my buyers get title insurance. They have to. They're required to get lender's insurance. And by that point, why wouldn't you just continue? It says, before real estate closes, the property must have clear title. Title companies run searches to find claims against the property. Public records will be searched to confirm the seller's ownership and uncover any claims on the home, as well as claims or liens on the property, building code violations, or other issues that could stop the title from being clean. Title insurance coverage can protect buyers and lenders should there be a defect in the title or disputes over the ownership. Claims could be filed against the title for liens, back tax assessments, easements, lines of credits, or disputed wills. While insurance normally protects against things that could happen, title insurance deals with things that have happened in the past. Insurance on the title covers buyers and lenders for the following issues: ownership claims from another party, errors in the records, forgery or fraud in documents, judgments against the property like liens and lawsuits, and unrecorded easements and covenants that could restrict the use. My real estate friend, buddy, and just wonderful all-around person, Jan, bought a house, and there was a problem with the easement, and the title company had to pay to resolve the issue between her and her neighbor. And they did. That was their job. There is lender's and owner's titles insurance. Most of the time, the lender will require that the buyer pay for lender's titles insurance. And this insurance policy will protect the lender's interest should there be an issue with the title at any point. When this policy is issued, it shows that the title search has been completed. Even though the title search hasn't found any issues, don't assume that there isn't any risk. The title could still have hidden defects that could cause you problems later. Since there is still a risk in financial loss, the owner can buy their own title insurance. This risk to a homeowner increases as they gain more equity in the home, where any claim made would result in a larger percentage of being the owner's responsibility. When a title defect is discovered and the owner does not have coverage, the closing time frame can be substantially delayed. Yeah, or stopped. If you can't provide me with clear title, I can't buy the property. The cost of the insurance. Title insurance is purchased at closing with the closing or escrow agent starting the process. There are 4 major title insurance underwriters and regional companies to choose from. Four in the entire United States. The cost of title insurance can vary considerably depending on your chosen underwriter and location. You can expect your title insurance to cost between $5,000 and $3,500. I would just say in St. Louis, expect it to be towards the second number. Usually the policy for the lender and the owner have to be purchased together. This ensures that there is protection for both parties involved in the purchase. On closing day, the insurance policy is purchased as a one-time payment. Though you might get recommendations for which underwriter to choose, it's better to compare options for yourself. There's also law preventing sellers from pushing in a particular insurance provider. By the time you're that far along in the closing, if you haven't even figured out what title company you're using, you're probably not getting very far in the transaction. Now, you can get quotes up front from the title company, but going with the cheapest title company versus somebody that can get the deal done is really, really stupid, in my opinion. If you don't have insurance on the title and there's a defect, you and your lender could face a serious financial loss. If there are unpaid property taxes, it will be up to the buyer to pay them. They could lose their home if they cannot pay the tax bill. When title insurance has been paid, it protects you as long as you own the home. The lender is also protected against issues in the title that were unrecorded. If a borrower defaults on the mortgage, the lender can claim this insurance if there's an issue with the title. And for investors buying homes in foreclosure, having an insurance policy with the title is even more important. There might be other issues with the home. In just the foreclosure, and title insurance will protect against those potential claims. So I don't know, we're having fun with the camera tonight. So what I would say is, and this is what I know, so whenever an investor comes to me, they'll see like a house for sale or something, an auction or something, and they'll be like, let's buy it. And I'll be like, do you think that's all you're going to need to pay on that house? And they say, what do you mean? So on a foreclosure, you think if somebody is getting foreclosed on. They care about paying the water bill or the sewer bill or their taxes. So all that stuff could be out there, and you might get stuck with the bill. I'm just saying. That's why you should check before you buy an investment property or any property. I don't argue title insurance. Now, what I will do in my situation, sometimes I'll have buyers that are not flush with cash, and it's hard enough for them to buy the house. And so we will waive the survey coverage, because if you're in a neighborhood and it's been the exact same fence for the last 30 years, I mean, what are we fighting about? It's not worth it. It's not worth the coverage. If you want to get a fence or something later, then you can certainly find out on the survey what it is. And if you feel like you need to take your neighbor to court, or they need to take you to court, then you can do that then. It's just not worth it, in my opinion, in a normal subdivision. Now, that's not always the case. Like, I was in the city this summer, and there was a house where the other person's garden was right up to the house of the house that we were looking at. And I said, I will not buy this house without some sort of survey that explains exactly where the property lines are and why this person feels that they can take your entire part of the property. It doesn't make any sense. I guarantee you the people that bought the house didn't even pay attention, because that's how people are. They don't see these things like I do. Anyway, last article of the night. This is from Mike Dilpreet. He's so on top of things, it's gross, especially like buyer trends and things of this nature. Cash burn continues and Compass navigates to break even. So Compass is the largest brokerage in the United States right now. They did it by, like, they were flush with cash, and they would just basically buy agents to come to work for them. It was very impressive. They would give them, like all kinds of stock options and things like that. And then they openly said, after they had critical mass, they're like, well, we're going to stop giving people this stuff. We're going to stop. We're going to cut the rate that we pay our agents. And it was fascinating to watch. And yet people still went there. It says the results are in, and Compass burned $143 million in cash during Q4 of 2022, leaving the company with a cash balance of $362 million. Why it matters: with a clearly articulated goal of reaching break even after billions in losses. And that's what I wanted to share with you. I am a simple man who runs a brokerage. And I'm telling you that I try to do things the right way. And one of those things is I'm never going to be a Compass, because you're never going to get me to take on a bunch of cheap money and just constantly run. Like, their business model for the last God knows how long has been, we don't care how much money we make as a broker. We don't need to make a profit as long as we keep getting agents, because eventually the agents will bring in enough money that will allow us to break even. That's their strategy. It's not a strategy that a normal company can do. Anyway, despite another quarter of high cash burn, the company appears to be positioned to achieve break even in 2023 after massive cuts made over the previous 12 months. Even in a much softer market, Q4 2022 cash burn was less than a year ago, a reflection of the cuts already made to the business. Compass started 2023 with a cash balance of $362 million, which includes $150 million drawdown from its revolving credit facility. Without that additional loan, Compass's cash balance would have been $212 million, dangerously low for a company that just burned $143 million in a quarter. The key to break even is Compass's ability to reduce its non-GAAP operational expense, primarily achieved through layoffs. I mean, so they're basically laying off everybody they possibly can. Operating expenses dropped significantly over the past 6 months and is on track to drop further through the rest of the year. It appears that Compass is aiming for OpEx around $950 million for 2023, down about 30% from $1.35 billion in 2022. It's fair to say that any brokerage, Compass included, falls apart if it's unable to recruit or retain agents. Well, that's true unless you've got my model, which is I'm the broker and I'm the agent. And if I don't do it, it doesn't happen. For the first time, Compass's agent count has gone flat, reflecting the challenging market and environment for agents. Less transactions equals less agents. That's exactly right. Their whole business relied on them just continuing to get agents. Like eXp Realty is another one where they're like, we're just going to get agents. That's what we're going to do. Yes, but it takes several data points to create a trend, and most brokerages are seeing a similar slowdown in agent count growth. Well, this is twofold. One is your actual leaving a brokerage to go to another, okay? And the second is agents who never made it in the business continue to shuffle out of the business as the business gets harder. The business gets harder because there's fewer houses to sell. There's fewer transactions, and not everybody can have a piece of the pie, or at least enough to survive and afford groceries. It says, at analysis time, assuming Compass's national market share and revenue per transaction remain consistent with 2022, we can see what needs to be believed for a company to reach break even in 2023. I don't believe it does, by the way. I think by the end of the year, we'll see massively fewer transactions. Compass's current non-GAAP operating expense target of $950 million suggests that 4.5 million transactions in the national market are necessary to give Compass the revenue and gross profit necessary to break even for the year. A bear case of 4 million transactions, so basically 500,000 less, would require Compass to cut an additional $100 million of operating expenses to reach break even. Please note, these are back of the envelope calculations that provide directionality, not certainty. And I understand that. I mean, that's only fair. We're guessing. It says what to watch. Like other brokerages, Compass only has so many levers to pull to reach break even. On the revenue side, the company is considering franchising as a less expensive growth strategy and will be trying to accelerate its mortgage joint venture. Now, look, joint ventures in real estate have traditionally not gone well. Remember when Zillow turned into a house flipping company, an iBuying company? Remember that? It didn't go well. Remember when Redfin got rid of their mortgage company? Yeah, it didn't go well. These companies have always tried to find this end-to-end solution, okay? And it does never come to fruition for anyone. This has been going on since the 80s, at least. If the market remains soft and revenue drops, the only option is to cut even more costs out of the business. The bottom line, Compass is not alone in needing to cut costs during a significant market downturn. Its future depends on it. The company dipped into its emergency reserve last quarter, $150 from its revolving credit facility for the home stretch to profitability. It appears that Compass has made the deep cuts necessary to achieve break even this year, as long as nothing else unexpectedly goes wrong. And some of the things that could be that way, some of the things that could be the wrong, would be something like, did they have their money in Silicon Valley Bank? Compass is a startup. They've only been around for 10 years. It's, like these are the things that could get them, or they could be in Signature Bank, which is out of New York City. I mean, any number of things could happen that could cause them to have significant issues. We just don't know. And I don't, look, I'm not a big enough fish to care what Compass does or whatever Coldwell Banker has decided to name themselves. I'm just not that big. It doesn't matter. My goal is to help my buyers buy homes and sellers sell theirs. That's all I do. I don't care about, I'm not positioning my brokerage for after I die. Like when I die, it's over. That's the position. Now, at least, maybe 20 years from now, I'll care. But right now, just want to service my buyers and sellers. That's all. Well, I've had a good night. I thoroughly enjoy my live stream. I hope you do too. Again, if you could help me out, there's a couple ways. One, subscribe over on Rumble if you've got a Rumble account. I need 25 to live stream over there, and I'd really like to do that. Number two, on YouTube, if you would subscribe, if you would share the video or just share with your friends, like, hey, I watched this fellow who talks about residential real estate nightly, and it's quite engaging. That would be good. You could hit the share button on the YouTube. That'd be good. And then, you could be a part of the chat. You could be a part of the comment section. You could be a part of anything. No restrictions. Just come and hang out. With that, I'm going to head out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you on the next one. Good night.